Hey guys, so welcome to a Saturday night edition of the Pizza Roll Diaries. With me tonight, I have Frank Parker, Admiral. See, and that's why you rule, my friend. I think you're the first person that has brought in pizza rolls on the Pizza Roll Diaries. I haven't even myself. I'm that lazy. I always scrunch them before, I have these things. I bring coffee. I've brought energy drinks. I've even brought Pop Tarts, but I have not brought pizza rolls. So kudos to you, my friend. Kudos to you. So now here is Frank Parker. As I said, he is Admiral Grissom. Now I have mistaken that before. He is not Admiral Boone, which I mistakenly called him that before when I was sleep deprived. So Admiral Boone is though in the chat. That is Jim's Landscape LLC. Hello, Admiral Boone. How are you doing tonight? And we have William Jackson in the chat tonight. William, how you doing, buddy? Thank you for joining us. We have Ian Mitchell in the chat. He says, hello, gentlemen. And then we have Jeff Mitchell as well. And he says, hiya. Hi, all. And yeah, no, right. That's exactly, yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, no, that's exactly it. I did. Like one morning, I didn't even realize it. And then he made a joke about it, like about me not knowing names, and and like I didn't even get it. I'm like, oh no, I am because I always say that I'm terrible with names, and yeah, I didn't even get it. And then like later on, because I talked with Frank. How many times did you say, Frank? How many times a
Too
week?
many. Can you count that high? Okay. We talk at least 2 to 3, maybe 4 times a week. It depends on what's going on.
I was gonna say yeah, I was about to say it's not uncommon for me to call you either, if I'm driving to work, or I'm if I'm cooking Royce lunch, or I'm in the shower. It's any one of those times. It's that's how the banana hammock comes up. Yeah.
I have to gouge my eye out now.
So mistakenly, he, as we're talking after the show that one time, he's like, you called me Commodore Boone, right? I'm like, oh dude, did I oh man. So no, like that's when like the running joke that I mistaken him for Commodore Boone. So now I know I'm gonna have to put that in a script where I've mistaken him for Commodore Boone. I'm going to put that in there. Like, he comes on, and I'm going to be like, Commodore Grissom, Commodore Boone, what's the fucking difference? Who cares? Like I'm going to have to do that at some point, just because I can't get my shit together, guys. So it's, yeah. To me, it's so funny, that, I don't know. I love all you guys. It's, these things keep me going some days. That and coffee. Donna, how are we doing, Donna? And that is Tameril herself, Frank Parker's wife. So anyway, so for as everybody comes into the chat and files in, we have next month Pizza Roll Diaries. We have the Fan and Film Get Together, and then I am considering keeping on going the Real Stories with No Budget Production. Which is kind of a paranormal story that I'm bringing people on for, like interviews like what we're doing here. But these are real encounters with either ghosts or UFOs or the Hat Man, like whatever. I wanted to do more of a deep dive into this type of subject. There's been some interest, of course, not like my fan film stuff, but that's to be expected considering I'm kind of known for the Star Trek stuff. But there has been some. And of course, I find it interesting because I had an encounter with a ghost and the Hat Man when I was young. So with those two incidents, this has been kind of a passion of mine. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment, let me know, because I'm considering keeping that going on a semi-regular basis. So anyway, that being said, on Monday at 9 a.m., we have Roy Ivy, who is Admiral Vandenbosch, coming. So tune in for that, to find out what the Evil Admiral has in store for his future ongoings with the Constar and other fan films in general, and just what he's doing in general. And next month we have a full lineup for Mondays and a couple of Saturdays with probably my highlight, personal highlight, Michael L. King. It was kind of I'm super excited to have him come. I have a lot of cool people coming for that one, but for all of March. But to have Captain Bishop himself come and be part of the program, he always chimes in. He's always stopping by in the chat, and to have him actually come join, to me that's really special. So stop by next month. Yeah, it's going to be something pretty fun. And yeah, for April, I've got a couple things penciled in. Nothing fully set yet, but yeah. That being said, we got a couple more people that showed up in chat. Let me say hello to these people, and then we'll start with this program. So we have Matt's Lawn Care. Hello, how are we doing, buddy? I haven't seen you in quite some time. Welcome back. I'm glad you can make it, my friend. It is good to see you. It is good to see you. And then we also have Captain Trek. How are we doing, my friend? It is good to see you, my friend. I have not seen you in quite some time. It is a pleasure to have you tonight, buddy. Let's see. We have USS ARNG. And then we have Seafood in a Can. Hello. Well, hello.
That's Donna's daughter.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, welcome. Glad you can make it tonight. Thank you. Let's see. All right. And we have Ian Mitchell. I don't think I've said hello to Ian tonight. If I have, forgive me. And we have Matthew Bracey. And let's see, who else we got? All right. And then we have the man himself, Michael L. King, Captain Bishop, the man in charge of the Valiant, the choice voice. Welcome, my friend. Welcome tonight. So here we go. All right. So, Frank, how the hell are you doing, my friend? And I got to say, you're rocking that hat, man.
Thank you. Enjoy my hat. I wear it because my uncle, who is no longer with us, used to wear this, and I wear it in honor of him, actually.
You were telling me about that. What you got a little pin on there? What is that from?
It's used to be Dominion pin, but it is now the Orville.
Oh, my goodness. Now, do you have something Orville lined up coming down the road, or are you strictly a Trek guy?
Oh, I love the Orville. To me, that's just as well, even better than Star Trek in a lot of ways. I wish I had something up the sleeve. I almost did that instead of going back into Trek fan films, but I'm more familiar with the Trek, and I didn't know exactly. The sets are easier to build.
Well, I think there's a lot more. I mean, we've seen screen caps of Orville stuff, but I mean, there's a lot more material to kind of draw from Star Trek. If it's Next Gen or DS9 or especially TOS, you can look at those and be like, I can fake that. So, question to start everybody off. Let me delve into a little bit of our history. I used to hate you with a passion. Every time I would see you kind of show up in a post, I'd be like, that son of a bitch. Because I felt like you left fan films, and I felt like you left us in a rut. And then, for years, I mean, because I didn't fucking know you. And then you came back to fan films, and I was like, all right, I'll give this guy a chance. And plain and simple, that was my ignorance. Because again, I didn't know you, and ironically enough, like you've become a great friend of mine. What? What are you talking about? You've got that banana hammock full size Vman poster. What? You're like my biggest fan. But that being said, something drew you away from fan films, and something brought you back. What can you tell us about all of that? Because you've told me, but I mean it is such a fascinating story, and it's so relatable. Um, what can you tell us about it, man?
Well, basically, I started off this fan film journey back in around 2010, 2011. Um, I was serving as con chair for Conch Carolinas. And that year, we had the Farragut come down, which is a Starship Farragut. That was started by John Broughton and had Mike Bednar and Michael Day and Holly Bednard. And Michael Day and John came to that particular convention. And I struck up, a conversation with Michael Day, who now is one of my best friends. I can't, like you, Michael, life is crazy. But anyways, so I didn't start off actually with the Farragut. I started off, Michael Day came up and he said, Lee Gartrell is doing the Romulan Wars. And, you've got, some Enterprise uniforms. I had an Enterprise Admiral uniform that Donna made for me. And he said he's looking for an admiral. So I did a couple small things with that. And it was Admiral Sam Black. Where I get the name Sam, I don't know. It seems to follow me all over the place. And then I went to Trek Atlanta that next year, and I met Michael Bednar. And at that time, they were in St. Mary's, Georgia. They had moved down. They had done some shooting up in the DC area. And because of a friend of Holly Bednar, they were able to have a small location, not the location that it's in now. And that was the first fan film I really got involved with. And I helped with some of the set building at that time. I played a Romulan in Price of Anything. Donna made some uniforms for actually, she did all the Romulan uniforms. So I became part of the Farragut family. Then when we lost that building, we moved over to the Kingsland site. I was going down there for a couple years, at least every other weekend, for a 5.5-hour drive to help build the sets. So during that time, getting the sets and everything else, we got together and I asked him, I said, if I wanted to do a small fan film myself, could I do that? And Michael Bednar looked at me and said, sure, Frank. I mean, you've helped, work on the sets and everything. So Dreadnought Dominion was started to conceive. I was laid off at the time, going back to school. It was during that I was in manufacturing, and we got to the point where I got sick and tired of getting laid off every time we had that layoff. And this is around 2009 into 2010 and 11 when we had that really bad crash in manufacturing. So I was going back for web technology, and I just kind of got involved with doing stuff with the Farragut. Started the Dominion. Things were going great, and then, and this is the part that really gets, we shot Haunted and we shot Anchors Away. We did Anchors Away after one of the Farragut fests that we had. And then later on that year, we went down to the studios and we shot Haunted. And everything was going, but during the time we had some turmoil, and I, because of the fact that I don't want to cause a stir for a production that's still running down there, I got upset with the person who actually took over the building and the things that had gone on after that. And I just said to myself, we're not going to have the ability to do the fan film. He wanted to charge me $3,500 a day to shoot if we were going to do that. Plus, we had the CBS rules and regulations. And I think at the beginning of that, a lot of us fan filmmakers at that point in time were really worried about getting a cease and desist from CBS. So I pulled out. And, I kind of left it. I dropped it. Gary and Randy really didn't understand why I had dropped it. So went on for a few years. We talked here and there, but we really weren't as close as we had been in the beginning. Actually, Randy and I pretty much started the Dreadnought, and Gary came in pretty much after that. And our first Haunted was based on a story that Gary did. Gary and I had known each other from a Star Trek fan club, Starfleet International, and I was part of one of his organizations, Maquis International. And Randy and I met at Central Piedmont Community College, where he was taking classes for web technology, and I was also. We graduated together. So what brought me back? Well, I spent about 6-7 more years in Civil Air Patrol, which I'm a lieutenant colonel, which I had done when I was younger, and that took up a lot of my time. So I didn't really I don't think you know this part of the story. I didn't really get a lot of time to, put into it. I was squadron commander, and I, was very, very involved with the squadron. But as I started coming around and started to watch fan films again, and watching what the Dreadnought had done after I left, and thank God that they continued it, because I think they've done a fantastic job. I started getting the feel of wanting to come back. So I I reached out to Randy, and I reached out to Gary. Actually, I reached out to Gary first, and they said, yeah, wow, we really wish, you'd done a couple more things with us, because we really could have used you on this and that. So I said, that's fantastic. And so we started talking. We started planning on a comeback for Grissom. And as I sat there, I said to myself, this is going to work to a degree. Gary's now in charge of the ship, so I can't come waltzing back in and take that away from him and everything he's worked on. So what am I going to do? I can be, support them in any way I can, be in the background, help them, run scripts and stuff like that. I have no problems like that. But I kind of wanted to start off again and do something.
Right.
So, and that's where we're at right now. We just finished shooting Passengers, which is me coming back to the ship and onward. But so
that was the thing about the early on in the the guideline fiasco, is like everybody was losing their fucking mind about, oh my God, we got to delete everything off our hard drive, or CBS is going to kick our door in with the warrants and arrest us. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? Like, calm down, people. Like, that's not how shit works. Like, people actually thought they were going to go to federal prison for, copyright infringement. It's like, guys, like, even the big guys aren't worth their trouble in that regard. Like, calm down, but I think in the early days, like, everything was just so uncertain, and there was a lot of things that was up in the air, and it, even for me, like that week before, when the guidelines were dropped, and then there was like a week pause between that and then Van Sitter's actually coming on and talking about it, where even for me, like, it took the wind out of my sails of, like, I don't even care about Star Trek anymore. Like, you don't want us to do anything. Like, everyone was just taking the most pessimistic road of, I don't care. It really made everybody just kind of bummed, because it felt like we were being targeted. It felt like they didn't want us there. It felt like, for all the love we had, it felt like you were just getting kicked in the fucking teeth, So, I mean, I certainly understood, once I reached out to you and you and I started talking, it painted everything in kind of a different light of, Oh, so you weren't just a dude who was trying to take his ball and go home. It painted that in a very, very different light. Because when I wrote uh, Chain of Command, which was a Bernard and Brosseau film. In fact, I think it was. I don't know if it was the first crossover film, but I know it was the first kind of modern-ish crossover film. And it was one of the first ones, I think, that was done in two different locations, um, or three actually, because if you include Randy in there, like none of us had even met, which I think was kind of unheard of. For two films to shoot at three different locations and never even meet and get it done. But like that, we very much wrote that storyline, of not having anything, not knowing where you were, what you were doing, and we wrote that real life situation into a film, and that for me springboarded why I write the way I write. So even though you didn't intend for it to be that way, like that had a very heavy influence on me. That even continues today, where you coming back into fan films. We're continuing that storyline, you and I. You, you filmed now, like what, four things?
Well, see, we did Freak on a Leash,
Yep.
Running Up That Hill.
Right.
I just did a monologue for you last night, or a
For what?
blog. Yeah,
For Wasteland. Yep.
Wasteland. We just finished shooting Passengers for Dreadnought.
Mm-hmm.
I'm beginning to start putting together the first pilot for, by the way, it's Crossroads for those who don't know. Um, that's what we're going to call it. We'll go into that later, maybe. So what else? It seems like to me there's another. Oh, what's
Calm,
the
cool,
one?
and,
Yeah,
calm, cool, and
Cool
collected.
and Collected.
That
Yeah, I haven't
that's
got that yet, but I'm gonna.
and that's our Kelvin timeline one that I brought to Gary, which because we've told kind of the same story or a similar story, of Chain of Command, and then a similar story in the Mirror Universe, and then I had the idea. I was like, dude, let's tell the same story in the Kelvin timeline, and Gary's like, I love it, let's do it. And then I was like, since we got Frank back, let's we can now tell that story with Frank. And I thought that was the best way to do that. Is it kind of, one, it's a trilogy, and everybody loves fucking trilogies these days. But the two, what better way to resolve that end of the story than to have the guy who kind of inadvertently started that storyline, which is you. And I think it resolves that story arc, even though it takes place in like three different universes, if you watch all three films. And I think it does it in kind of a beautiful way. And I'm excited to see that just as a fan, because it's like, man, this is like, nobody gets to really ever be a part of stuff like that, and it's like, we're like, all of us, I feel like, are constantly making history on a fan level. I think it's an exciting time to be a fan, just because it's like, who gets to do this type of shit. But there was a question, and before I forget, and I don't want to, I put it up on the screen earlier. Ian Mitchell had a question. What's with the Filk ferret? So,
Okay. So Filk is a type of science fiction folk music. You'll see it at conventions. It's been around for ages. It's people write songs with parody, songs about songs about science, songs about space travel. Of course, it's been around for more years. The very quick definition of Filk is, many years ago at a Worldcon, they had on the program, it should have said science fiction folk music, and somebody made a typo on that, and it was Filk music, and it's stuck. It's been around since the 50s as Filk. And so Donna and I, we first of all, go to a lot of conventions. I mean, as you could tell for where I met that part of it. I've been a con chair. She was registration for 15, 16 years at Con Carolinas, which is our big convention around here. I play guitar. She sings. So we perform as the Nefarious Ferrets. She's Lady Ferret. I'm Filk Ferret. Filk Ferret came about because I love ferrets. Donna loves ferrets. But years ago, well, we had bulletin boards. Anybody remember those bulletin boards back then? It's well before the internet. I used to go as Aztec. I don't know why, just thought it was a cool name. Well, as time grew on and we started getting more BBSs together and then the rudiments of the internet, Aztec was becoming a popular name all over the place. And I had just started filking. And I love my ferrets. So I said to myself, nobody in this world is ever going to use filk and ferret together. Nowhere, anyhow. Google it. You'll find me. That's the only thing. So filk is music. Ferrets are a love of mine. I've had up to, well, I've had 7. Donna's had 7 at several times. So yeah, the only reason we don't have ferrets right now is because they do take a lot of maintenance, so we just don't have the time. But so that's where that is.
No, right on, man. Except you, Frank. That's what Ian says. Except you.
Banana hammock to you too.
There you go, man. You see ferrets and banana hammocks. You know, me and Frank are hanging out. That's it's kind of a that's kind of a weird fetish in some places. That's a weird fetish in some places, dude. It's kind of a creepy time. Anyway, so okay, so you're back in fan films, and you got your own new series now, and we've kind of delved into kind of a crossover, crossroads. What can you tell us about? Because I don't want to give. You and I've talked in great depth, and I don't want to give too much away spoiler wise. Mm-hmm. What do you want to tell the audience about your new series? Because I know you've done, you've gone back to the Dominion in some capacity. You've kind of I don't care what you tell them about the crossover with Constar stuff, because I mean, to me, the way I see it is like, if they care enough about the project, no matter how many spoilers, they'll still come back and watch the film. So I don't care what you tell them about my films. Feel free to. What can you tell them about your project, about what you've done? Because this is hype time.
Okay, so Crossroads is basically going to be another, of course, ship. However, it's not going to be a Connie. Everybody does Connies. One of the reasons I did Dreadnought is people were not doing Dreadnoughts at the time. They were doing Connies. So I always like to be different. So I was going to look at one of the ships. I think one of the things I started off about was doing a Miranda class.
Right.
Well, one day I was searching my favorite thing called Google. I'm a Google fanatic. And I just happened to run into this ship that I went, I like that. And it came from Star Trek Online. And it's called a Gemini class, which they call it a battleship temporal cruiser. I said, temporal. Okay, like that idea. 4 nacelles. I never liked 2. 4 sounds good. That's the ship we're going to use. Mm-hmm. So I said to myself, all right, what do we do now? Do we shoot at neutral zone? Do we shoot at Warp 66? Well, Warp 66 is quite a trick. Neutral zone is 5.5 hours, and I'm not opposed to that, but we never know how long these places are going to last. And I've gotten caught in that situation with Dominion when we lost the use of the studio. So I said, I'm not going to do that again. So I said to my mother-in-law, you have a big garage. I would like to build a bridge in there. So we're going to clean out the garage and we're going to build the bridge. I have a ready room very similar to you that I'm going to be putting together up in one of our spare bedrooms, sort of like a combination of Potemkin, Antilles, because George does a lot of things in there in his house, and it's very similar to you because you do a lot of location shooting and things like that. So to me, that is one of the newer ways of doing this media, is seeing what you have available so you don't have to take and go all over the place. But if you can get some type of good sets together and cheat angles, I've got Sam Cockings doing the model for the Harrison, which is the ship. And we've talked a lot about green screening. And I like some of the effects, like the transporter room looks really good. My consoles are already printed for my helm and my transporter room, and one's 6 foot long and one's 5 foot long, and they're an upgrade from the TOS era, someplace mid between the movie era and, near the end of the 5-year mission or closer to that. So the ship is moving towards the next stage of what Starfleet would have seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to have a couple different things. Well, first of all, the ship isn't really canon. It comes from Star Trek Online, so it's not canon, which I like because, I can design the bridge the way I want to as long as it's Star Trek lookish. I can have a little bit different equipment. I'm not really tied into as heavy a canon as possible. I can experiment, and I like that idea. The cast so far, I've I work for Bank of America, and this is turning into a Bank of America project. I've been recruiting for my team, plus my wife and one of my daughters. So it's going to be. I hope to bring it together, family like Dominion, and of course we're still going to be doing crossovers with Dominion. Talk to George. I'd like to do some crossovers with George. Of course, you and I, are doing some crossovers. I would even like to do a crossover with Avalon at some point. So this is the thing. I think now the difference 7-8 years ago was there was a lot of, and I've heard this discussed many times, there was a lot of battles, infighting all over the place. Yep. And I'm seeing this now, and that's one of the reasons I was so excited to get back in with you, working with Gary, with with George, everybody trying to get together and work as teams. I mean, they're not, we're not looking for that cinematic excellence. We're looking to do a fan film. I mean, fan films are not going to make any money. We do it for the love. We do it for the joy.
It's not so cutthroat.
No. And that's the thing. One of the other things. I mean, Michael King. I love the Valiant.
Yeah.
Excellent show.
One person I got to shout out. Daniel Vance showed up in the chat. Got to say hello to Daniel Vance. Glad to have you in the chat, man. Really good to see you tonight, my friend. No, Michael King. Like I've said a million times before, and I will say this till the day I make my last film. He is probably the example that I would pinpoint to anybody to say, hey, if you if you want to make a film, that's the example. If you want to see how to treat other people, that's the example. If you want to see how just to do things in general, to treat your cast, to treat your crew, to do writing, like that's the example. Like he is the prime example of how to do things properly. He stays out of the drama. You know, you don't know how he does any. You know, you don't know his opinion on anything because he keeps everything very close to the chest. Um, and that's, you know, I wish I could be that calm. You know, I'm not. And I, you know, there are several times where I post something to Facebook and then I'm like, man, is this going to get me fired from Valiant? You know, like, cause I'm very hot tempered. I mean, you know me, dude, I say whatever's on my mind. I'm like, fuck them people, fuck them all. Okay, go to hell, you know? And I'm like, oh shit, is that going to get me fired? You know, like, and like, I'm always expecting like, you know, whenever Michael's like, hey man, I'm like, oh shit, is this the day? Is he gonna fire me? Oh, I hope not. You know, but he's you know, it's very different than the landscape when, you know, like you said several years ago, you know, where it was uh you know, very cutthroat, very you know, everyone elbowing, you know, each other and jockeying for position and, you know, trying to be that cinematic, you know. And that's the one thing that, you know, when they had you know, the guidelines, you know, it didn't affect us, you know, because even now with the $50,000 cap per 15-minute episode, no one's going to give us $50,000. Not people like you and me, you know. I mean, I every once in a while I'll do like $1,000 or $1,200 GoFundMe for uniforms or props, and then maybe 6 months later or a year later I'll do another one. But I mean, you know, I'll reach my goal, but that I'm comfortable with that. But $50,000, fuck no, I wouldn't give me $50,000. Like that's a lot of
No.
pizza rolls to buy, you know.
And that's the thing, you know, when you take a look at it, a lot of this stuff you can build your own at minimal cost, you know, pads, even the view screens and stuff like that. If you put your mind to it, I think one of the better ones. I mean, I like Randy Lander's stuff on the Potemkin because I mean he's built. I think he's on a sports
Yes.
studio, and I mean he's really got his stuff together, and it looks good. It has this, you know, that Trek feel, and that's what I'm looking for. Is just the Trek feel. Everybody sees the Connie, but I think breaking it down to something different is fresh. It gives people more of a little bit more excitement saying, okay, what can this ship do?
Well, the good thing about Randy Landers is, you know, I don't think the guy gets enough credit for what he does because he's completely self involved with what he's doing. He doesn't need any outside person to come in and be like, oh, you need this or you need that. He, you know, he's if he doesn't have it, he goes and does it. And you know, you can look at one of the films and be like, oh, this is a Randy Landers film, you know. And you know, he has his own distinct style, and he's so creative, so fucking smart. Um, and that's why, you know, people like George Kyan,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they take what they have. People like Randy Landers, they take what they have, and you know, it's easy to throw money at a problem and say, here you go, fix it. Let's just, you know, give me the biggest, give me the best. But you know, people like Randy Landers and George Kyan, you know, they're really pioneers in what they do. And they don't get enough credit for what they do to fan films, or for what they bring. You know, or they'll focus on the negative of, oh, this doesn't have this vibe or this doesn't have this feel. But they're so smart and how they approach things, and I dig it because it's like for someone who's just starting out, who doesn't have any budget, who doesn't have anything, that's the approach you need to take because you're never going to get to the Avalon universe type feel or vibe if you never get to, you know, a George Kyan or a Randy Landers, or you know, and that's not to knock, you know, nobody think that I'm knocking a George Kyan, or because I'm in the same boat as a George Kyan, you know. um but
So am
it's
I.
yeah, but everybody expects Avalon quality type, and that's not, don't ever try to shoot for, you can shoot for that, but understand that's the exception, that's not always the case. You know, be happy with the lower budget. um but the $50,000 cap, um, we're never going to hit that. You know, you've got to be creative and do what those lower budget productions do. And how many films does Randy have now?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I don't know if Michael Day is out in the audience. I thought I saw him come in. He might
Yep.
have a guesstimate on it,
He's
but I know he's quite a few.
Yeah, he's as prolific. Like people say I'm prolific. I point to that guy and I'm like, no, that guy is he's up there. He's up there. He's got a lot. But
So
yeah. So you've been all over the spectrum. You've been Dreadnought Dominion. You're now shooting with me, Constar. You've reached out to other producers to do crossovers, to be open to the Trek universe. What's some things that you want to see personally for your character of Grissom? Because when we left your character, just from a writer's perspective, I know so much more about your character because I've written for him, I've acted against him, I've seen some things, I now have some rough edits of some films. But as far as the audience knows, the last we saw your character, he was going to be the captain of the Dominion, and then all of a sudden, zoop, he's gone.
okay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So what do you want to see, and what do you want to give your audience the little tidbits of what's to come?
I think my character is going to always be a steady character in the fact that he's going to have his doubts, he's going to have his strengths, but he's not going to be a Kirk. He's not going to be, anything. In a way, I just thought of this. He may be more of a Mercer, Captain Mercer.
Yeah, I could
You
see that.
know, yeah, because he knows he's doing it, but geez, did I do the right thing? And then continue forward. I can't see me as a swashbuckling, but when the chips are down, I'm there. And I may question it later, but I'm going to react to the situation.
Right.
I'm always going to be in control, and sometimes a ghost will come back to haunt me.
So that being said, the people who tune in to the two films that we're supposed to be coming out with, which is Running Up That Hill and Freak on a Leash, which should be released, I think we agreed on, was it April? Or
Yeah, it was sometime in that time frame. I think that's what we're looking at.
okay. So I think it was you are. What exactly are your plans? Because as soon as they're done released, I'm passing it off to you, saying, "Hey, whenever you tell me to release them on my channel, I will." What is it you want to do with those films?
I'm going to take a look at well, first of all, I'd like to have if we get to Atomicon this year, that's in North Charleston, in May. I want to have those down there. I'm going to be helping run the filk down there. Surprise, surprise! I get myself involved with that, and what we'll be doing is also I asked the very good friend of mine, Janet, who is the con chair down there, if we could set up a table, just to push it a little bit, maybe have a donation jar or something like that, just for the building and stuff like that. What we'll do is probably have, I know that, I mean, technically right now, I feel Haunted and Anchors Away I can show, being the fact that they were the beginning of my tenure with Dreadnought. And those two are on my site right now. I've only got two films that on the site itself, on my YouTube channel. Then I'll be putting more links, of course, to Constar, to Dreadnought and stuff like that as soon as I get around to getting that all done. I would like if possible, I've been trying to put together our pilot that technically is going to come before um, passengers with baggage, because that ties everything in. The pilot, I think, did you read it? Yeah,
Yes.
because I sent it to you. So you know where that is going. So
Yep.
you can see where that sits in
Right.
with Freak on a Leash and Running Up That Hill.
Yep.
So that all together, those three tie into each other. The only thing I'm doing now is I want to, on that particular the Gemini project, which is a pilot, is to write in my science officer, and we have an Andorian navigator, because they've been hanging on. Three of us have already done shooting, Donna, myself, and Jen Nash, who plays the chief engineer, but nobody else has been into it yet. And I want to keep their enthusiasm up by, getting some more involvement in that release. So that's basically the time frame. If I can shoot that pilot, great. If not, I still will have those two that we've shot so far. And if there's anything else that comes up, because I know that Cool, Calm, and Collected, we're still waiting for Gary to build his shuttle to do any of his scenes.
Well, I think on that one he was close to being done, but it's been an undertaking to to do an entire set by yourself. Is it's not to mention just getting worn out of doing it by yourself. It's like, take a break, dude. It's okay. Go have a Snickers. It's all good, man.
Not Gary. I mean, I tell you, you need anything done, Gary is the one that will come up with it.
He's the prop master, man. I mean, it's
Yeah.
if anyone could do it, it's him though, man. It's good.
Right.
So all right. So that being said, there's two things. One, there's been some talk of an Orville fan film that you and I should be doing together at some point, since you have a uniform and I have a uniform. What do you say, man? Do you think do the people in the chat want an Orville fan film with you and me together? If so, type in Orville in the chat. Just let us know, because I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think?
Donna has a uniform too. She's got a doctor uniform.
Dude, so we got one from each. I don't know. What do you guys think in the chat? Let us know. Do you guys want to just type in Orville? Let us know. Because I'm kind of curious. And that being said, too, Donna, she plays to Meryl, and that's your wife.
Yeah, they married her off to me too in the movie.
I know. It was a line. It was a line that I wrote that made them think about that. That I was like, oh, good. And they're like, did you do that on purpose? I was like, kind of, because I kind of thought that would be, yeah.
Yeah, look at that big yes. Donna.
So that being said, what's it like? What's it like working with her? As your wife and the doctor and the whole kit and caboodle. Because I mean that's got to be something that most people.
She makes me coffee. Oh, I just realized something. This is why you don't use a green cup.
That's right through it. Right through it.
Oh. No, it's been a pleasure. One of the things that I enjoy about Donna is, well, we very quickly are going to tell you the quick down and dirty. We met each other in 2006 at Con Carolinas. She had coffee. I had a table. She had ferrets. I had the kitchen table and all 9 yards. So we started talking, and I went up to visit her. At that time, I was down in Columbia, South Carolina, and we decided that we really wanted to try a relationship. So, we got together. And that Thanksgiving, I said, I'm not getting any younger, and you're not getting any younger. Let's get married. So we got married in 2007 at Con Carolinas. So we were one of the things on the program. And then as soon as we were married, her very strict Baptist family on one side, all my Wiccan friends and all our fan film friends, not fan film, but our fan friends are on this side. And her family's going like this at the Borg that are standing there and the two Klingons that are on the door. Oh, yeah, that was fun. And my best man, who is just, he's a clown to begin with. He's the only one in a suit and tie. Completely out of. I was in a captain's uniform for Star Trek, the white uniform. Donna had made herself a green red dress. So anyway, so that's where we met. So fandom has always been in our blood. I started playing guitar around her, and we started doing the Nefarious Ferrets. Then I got involved with the fan film. She started doing uniforms and stuff for Farragut and stuff like that. So she's always been there in some capacity. She's even wielded a couple hammers and sanded some sandpaper down at the sets. I mean, she's put in some DNA down there too at the neutral zone now, or Farragut Studios at that point. So yeah, it's great working with her. And when we work together, I have to realize that I'm her husband, not her producer. So if I hear her do something, I have to be very, very careful how I bring it, or I lose the coffee in the morning.
Well, the way that green screen's working on your cup, it looks like you're losing your coffee now. So it's, So that being said, do you think it would be possible to have Donna come on and talk with Tameril herself? Do you think she'd be interested in doing that?
I don't think you have enough time at night. Oh, did I say that? I don't know. Is she in the chat? I know she's in the chat. Let her answer.
I don't know.
Cass,
do you guys in the chat want to see Tameril herself come on? And if so, let her know. Say, type in Donna or type in Tameril. Let her know. Or give a Vulcan salute. Give a Vulcan salute if you want to see Tameril come on next weekend, and come on next Saturday with and chat with us next Saturday. If you give a Vulcan salute if you want to see her come up, because I want to talk to her, because she seems delightful, and every time, like, she's always saying that she loves seeing Royce's pictures, and just delightful lady. Like, I want to talk to her. Give a Vulcan salute if you want me to chat with her next Saturday, because I'd love to chat with her.
I want her to come on if she wants to come on.
Yeah, if she wants to come.
I think so. I think we can. Don. Michael said it. Thank you, Michael. Yes, Michael says so. So you have to do it, Donna.
Yeah, they're chiming for you. They're starting to chime in, Donna. I don't know, like, fingers crossed, guys. I mean, we're gonna stay here till Donna says yay or nay. So I don't know. Yeah, they're chiming for you.
Carolyn's even wanting you to come on.
Oh yeah, they're coming through.
Be there in a minute? No, that's next week.
Next week. Next week, not now. We're almost out of time for now. If you do it now, they'd be like, "Hi guys, all right, bye." Oh, Donna.
Oh, I love her dearly.
Bless her heart. Well, she says okay. Does that mean okay she'll do it, or does that mean okay that she knows that it's in? Okay, that means okay she'll do it?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, guys, we got her. All right, next Saturday, 8 o'clock, we've got Tameril herself, Donna Parker, and then don't forget, guys, Monday we have Roy Ivy, which is Admiral Vandenboss, which he's in the chat. I forgot to give a shout out. Hello, Roy. How are you doing? We also have Quorath, my best friend Klingon. Oh, Donna Parker says yes. Woohoo! Yay! Thank you, Donna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Korath says, huzzah! Huzzah! Yay! Awesome. Well, Frank, my friend, it is always a pleasure to talk to you, man. I can't thank you enough for coming on and chatting with me, man. We got to get you on again, just to shoot the shit. I always love talking with you, man. There are some nights you help clear my head, keep me sane. You drive me nuts eating those pizza rolls in front of me. That's driving me bonkers. And you want to know why I talk about the banana hammock? That's one of these days, dude. One of these days. One of these days.
I can run faster scared than you can mad.
You just wait. One of these days, you're gonna get that picture and be like, "Oh, Vance sent me a picture. What is? Ah, oh, damn it, really, dude."
Rip the eyes out.
We're gonna see. You're gonna come on the next Pizza Roll Diaries with blindfold on, like that. Well, Vance sent me
the Jordy.
Grissam's gonna have a visor, and it's gonna be that's why.
You know me. If I say I'm going to do it, you won't know. You'll just open up and go.
I like it. I like it. Anyway, all right, guys. With that being said, Frank, thank you much for joining me tonight. Everybody in the chat, thank you for joining us as always. And that being said, be genuine, be safe, and keep on geeking on, guys.